Okay, hello, hello. Can you confirm that you can hear me, please? Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. Hello, hello. Okay, the little microphone button is moving, so I think. Okay, excellent. Thank you. I'm going to start out today while people join by showing you. I made a short about it, but I also want to put it here. This is a plaque that my son, my 9-year-old son, made me. He wrapped foil around a notebook and wrote, "Congrats on 3,000 subs." And I'm never ever going to stop bragging about it because I have sweet kids. Okay, so my embarrassing mom bragging is done. Type some questions in and I'll answer them as best I can. While we're waiting on questions, I did start a second playlist. All of the videos I've made have been about living here and things like how to rent a house, food prices, things like that. Excuse me. As more people are moving here, I'm getting a lot more questions like with nitty gritty immigration things. So I made the first video in the series about how to get the vaccination certificate and the health card, and I will keep making those about the things that I feel I can talk about. I'm always very reluctant to step into this space because I'm not a specialist. Like, I have a hired immigration specialist. He should make the videos, but he is so busy right now because the demand has really, really spiked here. So I'm trying to make videos about what I can. So those are going to be on a different playlist. I forgot what I called it. I think immigrating to Uruguay or something like that has immigration in the name. So that will not really help you if you are just looking into Uruguay, but if you've decided to move here and you're going through the process, it should help. Okay. So someone asks, "Hi, Cassie, do you recommend opening an Uruguayan bank account or just transferring money from a US bank?" Definitely open an Uruguayan bank account. There are several reasons why. Before you have an Uruguayan bank account, in order to pay everything like your electric bill, your landlord, everything, you will have to go to an Abitab, which is kind of like, it's hard to explain, but in a lot of grocery stores in the US will have like that money services part in the front where you can pay bills, you can Western Union, or they kind of do all these random things. You can get the word just, it's not a cashier's check, but a money order, things like that. That's what Abitab is here. The thing is that if you don't have a local bank account, then you're always having to pay cash. And so then it's just this horrible dance of, I got to go to an ATM. I'm I got to hope that they accept the debit card that I have. I've got to take out money. Then I have to go to Abitab and pay this and do all of these things. Whereas once you get your Uruguayan bank account, it's an app on your phone and you can pay any bill through it. Like, I pay all of my bills without leaving. Like, at one time, once a month, I just pay all the bills sitting on the couch, and it takes me about 30 minutes from my phone. So 100% open a bank account here, because then just also little transactions. Like, for example, I went to the meat market today, the carniceria, and it's like down the street from my house. And they told me, "Oh, the point of sale system is down, so we can't run a credit card or a debit card, but we'll take a bank transfer. And I just opened my app and transferred them the money like right there. And that's pretty common here. Like that's how I pay for my kids' karate classes, for football classes. That's how I pay their babysitter. Like a lot of the services you pay for, you need to be able to transfer or have cash, but it's just kind of a pain to always be having to get cash. So I definitely say open the bank account. Um, it is a pain to open a bank account here. That is an upcoming video. It just requires a lot of research because I want to make sure that I explain everything very thoroughly, and because that's pretty important, banking. So I am researching it. Honestly, that might be one that's in the middle of summer. My school year ends in November. My teaching year ends in November, so it might have to be after that because I'm going to have to do a lot of research. I'm glad that the health certificate video was helpful. Yeah. Um, Mina's, yes. I love Mina's. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you asked about Mina's. We went on vacation there. So here, the week before Easter is called like Tourism Week, Semana de Turismo. And it is everybody gets off of school. So I was off work. Obviously, I'm a teacher. My kids were off school. My husband didn't get off, but he took days off, and we all went up to Mina's. Spectacular. My kids loved it. Like they were so mad that we have been taking vacations along the beach, because we don't come from a beach town. So that's what was novel to me and my husband was the beach. But they were like, screw the beach. We want to go to Mina's. It's lovely. Um, you do need a car if you're going to live there, I think. I think it would be really, really, really challenging to get around without a car. So know to add that extra expense into your budget. But I mean, like the bus terminal that we took to get there, there's like a tiny mall. Like it has Mosca, which is where um they sell like um school supplies, art supplies, that kind of thing. It has a bunch of clothing stores. Like it has a little mini mall there, and big grocery stores and things. So yeah, Mina's super big fan of Mina's, and I really like it. I'm from San Antonio. It reminds me a lot of the Texas Hill Country. Like these are not mountains; they're barely hills, but it's very beautiful, in my opinion. Very beautiful, very rustic. Um, but everyone was super, super nice to us there because we did not have a car. So we were just like bumming rides, honestly. I mean, we were paying people to give us rides, but we were just kind of like asking around, like, hey, you know anyone who wants to make $50 to take us to this park? And everyone was super nice that we met. So anyway, sorry. I just love Mina's. That's where my kids want to live. So maybe someday. Okay, somebody says, I heard you have to jump through so many hoops to get an Uruguayan bank account. That is true. I would equate it to like almost the level of getting a mortgage. I mean, it is in the US, a mortgage in the US. It's a lot of paperwork. They ask for things like a letter from your current bank stating that you've been with them a while and you're in good standing. My husband had to get a letter from his employer that they knew he was here in Uruguay. Um, it's not easy. That's the last thing we did. Like we did so many other things, and we were here for about 8 or 9 months before we had a bank account because it was just too much. It was overwhelming. I'm also a wimp, so don't listen to me. I could have done it sooner, but I was taking my time. Um, but I do wish I had done it sooner because even though that's a lot of work, all of the things you have to do to not have a bank account here is a lot of work on an ongoing basis. So it's kind of like bite the bullet, get the bank account, boom. There are some agents at so Itaú is like a pretty good place that works with foreigners a lot. Um, so that's the one I recommend. And I'm trying to I don't want to look up on the live stream. That's weird, but they do Itaú does have a couple of agents who speak English and they are used to working with foreigners. So what you just might have to do in whatever bank you choose is ask around, figure out who works with foreigners and who can help explain this in English. Or a lot of the relocation specialists and things, they'll go with you and help you do that. So it sucks, but it's not the end of the world. And it has a really good reasoning. That's why I haven't done the bank video yet, because I want to explain the background of why these regulations exist. And I want to explain about the crash that happened in the early 2000s so that it's not just, oh, this is just tedious and nothing. I mean, it's a response to a very real thing that happened and that hurt a lot of people here. And the government set up some regulations and banks set up some regulations. And so I think it's important to know in the context that it's not tedious just to be tedious. There's a reason behind it. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. How did I find my apartment? So Leslie, I do have a whole video about how to rent a place here in Montevideo. Um, we we just always have either we always have good luck or I'm super chatty and I talk to everyone. One of those two things. But one of my kids sports, like one of the other moms is a realtor in the area, and so when we wanted to find an apartment, I just was telling her, "Oh yeah, I think we want to live in this area." And she's like, "Oh, I'm a realtor." And I'm like, "Oh, cool." And then she found something that wasn't even like listed yet because she just knew people in the area. And so we just totally lucked out. Everything just seems to, I don't know, talk to everyone all the time and you eventually figure out what you need is my goal. But you should, if you are not somebody who talks to everybody and you're just going to run into a realtor and be like, "Oh yeah, I need an apartment," and they find you one the next week. Um, I recommend a couple of realtors. They're not called realtors here. That doesn't really exist here. It's a totally different thing here. But on my website, cassietheenglishteacher.com/Uruguay, I have a scouting trip guide. But in that guide is like a list of recommendations. It's like English speaking immigration specialists, English speaking realtors, English speaking dentists. I mean, I'm trying to compile a list here to be helpful. And if you look in there, Danielle is amazing. He is wonderful and he speaks English really well. And he is an immigrant himself. So he kind of realizes, you know, what is different about living here and what he needs to explain. And he's like a really good, like he's a teacher, like he teaches you what's happening and helps you along the way. And anyway, he's just really a big sweetheart and I really love him. So Danielle on that list would be where I would steer you to find an apartment. Okay. Speaking of bank accounts, do you know if the non-resident monthly bank fee goes away upon becoming a resident? Um, I- so I think what's tricky too here is that every bank is really different. But yes, it definitely goes down or maybe away. And then if you use Brew, which is very difficult for foreigners to use, but if you have a job here, there's like other things. So it can be quite complicated. But yes, once you become a resident, that does change the way you're charged and the way, I don't know, maybe even because some banks don't charge you as high of a fee, but they make you have a deposit that they keep. That may change with being a resident, but definitely being a resident opens up a lot more doors there. Leslie, um, so it is not true that foreigners cannot get a mortgage. That is not true, but it's one of those things that's kind of true. It's true like the way I say you can't get mail. Yeah, technically you can get mail, but you need to realize that it's a big hassle to get mail, so you shouldn't rely on it, right? Same thing with a mortgage. So I talked to somebody who is a developer here, and I was like, okay, I'm sorry if you can hear these little yappy dogs. They never go away. They just are, they're a part of our lives. They're in the background. I tune them out, but sorry if you can hear them. Um, where was I? So you can get a mortgage. It's just a lot harder. And if you just moved here, like my friend was saying, yeah, like after you've been here a couple years, you have BPS is kind of like their social security records. You would be able to show, I've been working here for 2 years. I have a great job. Like I have enough to put down a large deposit and I can clearly pay this back. Um, but it would not be like a mortgage in the US, like an FHA loan or something like that. It would be more like a conventional mortgage where you put a large amount down at the beginning, and they're a lot pickier about the requirements. So probably it would be a while before you would be able to get a mortgage, and then even then you would be putting down a substantial amount, down payment, basically. Um, so yeah, sorry. We're very lucky that we will be able to just pay cash for it. So I'm not having to use a mortgage in this transaction, but probably in the future, like if we're here longer and we can apply for a mortgage, maybe we'll get like an investment property. I don't know. Okay. So someone asked, do you have recommendations for particular resources, online groups, websites, or anything that are especially helpful for people planning their move? Um, so I mean, kind of the reason that we're talking tonight and this exists is because when I was planning my move to Uruguay, I was like, what the heck? There's no information anywhere. And there is information. Like Guruwai is run by my friend Karen. She's lovely. There's a couple of websites, there's a couple of YouTube channels, but they don't they give you like a more bird's eye view, or like kind of more of a this is what it's like to live here. And I am like, I need steps. Tell me what it looks like. Tell me exactly what to do. Like, and so that's the videos I'm trying to make. That's why I made the health card video, because I was like, that was so intimidating. And then it ended up being so easy. But if I had a video of somebody telling me, you're going to walk in, you're going to do this, you're going to say this, you're going to go here, you're going to do this, then you know, that would just help me so much. So that's why I'm making those videos. Um, there's a couple of Facebook groups that are like less terrible. All Facebook groups are horrible, but there are a couple that I think are a little bit less terrible. I like Uruguay expat community. The mods there, they really take political conversation off really quick, and I think that's really good. Um, and people there, I mean, there's some Facebook expat groups here that are just like everybody is super negative all the time. And that one's like the least negative. It's still pretty negative, but you can look in that group. Um, I don't know. I'm trying. I'm sorry. I have a friend who's a technical writer who lives here, and she was telling me like, "Hey, maybe I can help you like make your videos into like a PDF thing, like how to move here." So, I don't know. I'm making this up as I go along, so it's not great, but there also isn't anything else really that I think is really helpful for planning your move. Because what do you mean by planning your move? Do you mean the immigration process? Well, then I would send you to aldorelocation.com, because Aldo has, I'm going to type it in the comments, and I'm going to hope that I have learned his freaking website by now and it works. His website has like flow charts and stuff, but it's all driven to immigration. So like that helps. But if you're like, hey, what's school like? What's it like to, like, if you have a kid in nursery, like daycare, what's that like? You know, you're kind of just looking for other people with that experience. Leslie, with a mortgage, what if you're retiring with a monthly income? I honestly don't know. I wish I did. I think you probably would still have to be here a couple years and be a resident, and maybe like even show like I've been renting for this amount, and look, I have the income coming in every month, you know. Um but it is also, I will say, um it's better to be a renter here. There's a lot more protections for renters. So if I could not buy a house with cash, I um I would I would probably just rent like super long term, and it would be fine. I would feel a lot safer than renting long term in the US, if that makes sense. So, if you rented for a few years, um while you waited, I think you'd be fine. But sorry, I don't I'm gonna have to ask my friend Moxie if he can come on here. Let me see what his site is called, or if I can remember. Um, no, I can't. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. This is the only person I know that would probably be able to tell you pretty honestly about a mortgage situation. Um, so I don't know if that helps you or not, but why do you think that most Americans want to immigrate and live in Uruguay and most of them are satisfied? Or is there a reason it doesn't work out for them? Is the language barrier a big reason? Sammy, this is a great question. Okay, I will tell you, like, I've been here 2 years. I've seen a lot of people come, I've seen a few go, right? Um, Probably the group of people that I know who are moving here because they're leaving the US this year, are sticking it out a little harder, maybe because they don't want to go back at any cost. But the number one reason people move back to the US is financial. Like if they lose a job, if they just can't afford it here. So that's a huge one. That's why I'm always like, very much, you have to have a good job and you have to have a lot of savings in case you lose that job. My family went through that. Like my husband moved here. We all moved here with my husband having a remote job, a very good remote job in the US, where everybody knew, like, he had letters saying he's allowed to move here. Everything was fine. And then about 9 months after we moved here, he lost that job. And so We really were in a situation. I had a job here, but my job I make not enough to sustain a family of 4 by far. So we had a pretty long runway because we had a lot of savings for him to find another job, and it did take him a while to find another job. But we were like, I mean, we were like, if you don't find another job in this window that we have, we have to move back. Like we don't have another option, you know. Um so people move back because of that. That's the most common reason that people it- I don't want to call it a failure. It's just like life happens, right? And sometimes your plans have to change. So number 1 is money. Number 2, I would say is like partner relationships. So that's why I have a video about the emotional journey of moving abroad. And I think a lot of times people get so caught up in I've got to get this, I got to get this document and you're worried about all these details and I'm like the details, I mean, you'll figure them out. Those are concrete factual things. What is really hard to do is like keep your marriage in good shape after moving abroad. That's a really hard thing to do. I don't like it's hard. Like it's really hard. And or your partnership or whatever, that can be really really tough. So honestly, those are the top 2. I typically ask people in consultations, how did you and your partner do during COVID? Because it feels very much like COVID. When you first move, I mean, you don't know anyone. And even if you meet a bunch of immigrants from the US who speak English right away, that's not a deep friendship for a while. Like it takes a minute to build that. So it's you and your family hanging out a lot. So we did great cuz like our family like we get along. We loved COVID. That was the best year of our lives. I know that's so horrible to say cuz I know like everything was horrible, but like we had a blast. We were so happy to just be home together all the time. Um so that those 2 and then I think the third is yeah, if you just really can't figure out how to assimilate the language barrier. Um, the 2 biggest groups that I say you might have a hard time assimilating are like extreme introverts, because here you have to talk to people a lot, like even to just to exist, you have to chat with people. Everything's word of mouth. So if you're a person who hates small talk, you hate doing all that, you're probably going to hate it here too. The other one is germaphobes. If you are a person who is a germaphobe and like a person who does not like people in your bubble or touching you, um, it's probably just not the right place for you. Like people are very affectionate. The greeting is not a handshake, it's a kiss. Like and everyone does this. Like even the bank that when we opened our bank account, she gave us a kiss. Like it's a handshake, right? And so like when my mom visited, she was like, I would just die. I can't do it. So that's those are like the main 4 reasons that people really struggle to be here, I think. I don't think there are co-house so sorry, I keep doing this, I forget. Are there co-housing developments for retirees or mixed generations, not just digital nomads? I don't know. Probably not many. I have a friend who lives in a co-housing situation, so some exist. Um, but she's like a young single woman, so I don't know how many there are. Um, Jason says it's helpful to watch Cuban expat channels too. Some have the option for subtitles. I totally agree, Jason. Actually, I watch a lot of Cuban and Venezuelan immigrants on TikTok, and that is actually super helpful too. Um, I do not want to say what neighborhood I'm in, but I mean, I haven't bought a house yet, so I don't actually know what will be in long term, but it's just a very middle class neighborhood. Okay. Yes, someone's talking about the Facebook groups being negative. I mean, I think it's just Facebook. It I don't know why people are so awful on Facebook. I don't get it. Um, yeah, I wish there was a way to have a better situation, but there really isn't. Yeah, Jason is saying for mortgages that you have to put a lot down. And yeah, that's true. You have to put a large amount down. As for a more sorry, I messed that one up. 70% down for a mortgage. And yeah, you would definitely put a large down payment. To the point that it's kind of like the mail thing, like it exists, but like at what cost? At some point it doesn't even make sense anymore. Um Oh, yay! So someone's here on their scouting trip. Excellent. Um, did you get my downloadable scouting trip guide? Because that has some like how to use the bus and how to do things that might be helpful, and some restaurant recommendations in Positos. But yeah, awesome. Um, it's this way. So it's the right side of each person's cheek, but you turn to the left and your right cheek is kissed. And it's only one side. It's not like this whole thing. It's just um but yeah, people are very affectionate here. Like even in my I teach 8th grade, and in my classes the boys, the 8th grade boys will just be in my class just like cuddling with each other. And I'm like, "Okay." The other day one of them was picking the pimple of a different one, and I was like, "Guys, you're grossing me out. Like, can you stop?" Okay, awesome. So many people are coming, and I actually was sent by a co-teacher a new program that ANEP is putting in place. ANEP is like the Department of Education here. And so they put in place a new program that is Espanol classes for immigrants um, from the US, from India, from Russia. Like a lot of immigrants have come in. And so they're putting these Spanish classes out, which is so cool. And I'm really excited. It has an email address. So I'm going to do that, and I'll report back what I hear for sure, because definitely I'm really excited about how it tends to be that like they respond to the need as it arises. So I'm really excited that that's happening. Oh, yay, Jason. I love Daniel. You're going to see, I loved him. Like our first meeting, he's like, here's a spreadsheet. And I was like, you're speaking my language, I just love it. So yeah. Um, I mean, I'll reach out to you privately. We should hang out, Jason. Like honestly, at this point, like we're buddies. Okay, what was or has been the hardest thing for you to acclimate to? Oh man. me think about that for a minute. I like this sounds so shallow. It really does, but the food and the food is and some people love the food. I just lived in Houston and San Antonio where I could like DoorDash any culture in the world's food in less than an hour, you know? And so and I'm a person who is like I cannot meal prep at all because I have a craving and I'm going to do that craving no matter what. Like I'm not a meal prep person. I'm a craving person. And so the hardest thing has not been like I cannot just DoorDash yellow curry to my door. Um that's like what I miss the most about the US. I cook really well, so I just cook it myself, but like yesterday I was feeling really sick and I just was like I want this thing and I'm too sick to cook it and there's nowhere to order it from and I'm just sad now. But I think that also is partially my husband speaks Spanish and I spoke enough Spanish to get by when we got here. So I don't have the same level of friction when I'm just out and about in the world. I think for most people, and even me, like sometimes I'm like, I just don't feel good today. I'm in a bad mood. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed and now I need to go to the store and I had to talk in this other language and I'm exhausted and I don't want to. So it's mostly just kind of like daily feeling grumpy about things. Um, yeah, Jason. So the uptick in crime. I haven't seen any stats for it. A new government was elected in March, and although Uruguayan politics are positively boring compared to US politics, there is still like this push that, oh, look at what this new government's allowing to happen. That started in like April. They're like, oh, there's an uptick in crime from this new government. And it's like, "Oh, what? Like, how a month? Really? Like, okay. Um, so I don't know. I can't really talk about it with any level of authority. I just kind of suspect if you're seeing it on Facebook groups and media, it's more just and on the Facebook groups, I mean, people were saying that in 2023 when I was moving here. Oh, Montevideo was so much crime, da da da. And I'm like, well, compared to where I live now, it's way lower. And you know, I just saw like some report that San Antonio and Houston are like two of the most dangerous cities in the US. And nobody cared that I lived in those. Like, so I don't know. Crime is, I think, if you stay out of certain neighborhoods, that's why I have the video about the neighborhoods in Montevideo. If you're in one of those neighborhoods, I mean, still, if you went to Paris, there are pickpocketers and you have to carry a bag and like zip it under your jacket and be really vigilant. And people still go to Paris, right? Like you just have to be smart about it. I was talking to somebody very specifically about drugs and like asking if fentanyl is here, and they were like, "No, fentanyl is not here. That's not a big problem." Like crack, what we would call crack in the US, is the problem. So um, I don't know. It's a different type of like there are drugs, but I don't know. If you go to the US, it's drowning in drugs. So, oh, thank you, Jason. That's really sweet. I don't. I am like low production value. I'm just like talking. I don't know. I'm just doing my best. Okay. Are there any stores similar to TJ Maxx, Marshalls? Oh, I wish. I wish there were. Um, Clothes are pretty expensive here. Um, and I always try to say if you are a larger person, and especially if you're larger in the chest area, it is hard to find clothes here anywhere. Like it's just really hard to find clothes here. When I went back to my mom's wedding, I brought back bras and like tops that fit me actually. Um, so no, unfortunately, Dollar Tree type stores. So we have like the Dollar Tree here would be El Clon is kind of a Dollar Tree type store. Um, and then Paprika would be kind of like a Walmart level store. I know it's paprika, but and so for the longest time I was passing it thinking it was like a cooking store, but no, it's like a Walmart. Um they have H&M, they have Zara, but and there's some thrift stores. Oh, what's it called? Como I can't remember the word. It's across the street, but I can't remember the word. Como Crecen is a thrift store. Um I'll type it in the chat. Como Crecen. But even the thrift store prices are higher than TJ Maxx and Marshalls and everything, which is terrible to me because I'm a big fan of Ross and Marshalls. Okay, this is a good question. If you were immigrating now, what would you do differently to make it easier to integrate with the local community and get acclimated faster? So, the number one thing we didn't realize when we first moved in, you'll realize, especially in Montevideo, there's just, I mean, I'm like, is this a speakeasy? Like, why don't you have signage? Why don't you have it's not on Google. There's all these like secret places. And I feel like at least put a sign up or something or a big sign, not this tiny sign. There's so many things that we discovered like after months or years of being here that I was like, oh my God, I've been looking for this exact thing this whole time I've been here. And it's a block away and I never knew. So that's frustrating. One of the things that I did not know was about the neighborhood clubs. And so that would be where I would start. I would ask whatever neighborhood you move into, inevitably, there are going to be clubs in the area. And they're all different. Like some clubs have a basketball court, they really focus on basketball. And some clubs have multiple football courts and fields, pitches, whatever you call them. And they really focus on football or, you know, they have different things. Some do dancing and singing, like, but there's going to be a neighborhood club that you could join, and that would be a great way to like meet people in your direct community. And the cool thing about the clubs is they have things for people of all ages, so the kids could do their sports and you could do choir, dancing, or something else, English club. Like you could go to the English club and just be like, I'll help be a speaker, whatever. That's probably the main thing that I would say took us a weirdly a long amount of time. It took us about a year. And it was only when I took my kids to the park last summer, and my son's really good friend has an older sister, and she was chatting with me because she was babysitting him. And she was like, oh, I do karate at the club. And I was like, oh, cool. My kids want to do karate. Like, what club is it? She's like, you don't know about the clubs? And she starts telling me all about it. And she's like, after school tomorrow, I'm going to show you, or after school, whenever, I'm going to show you where the club is. And you should join because it's great. And da da da. Literally, this club is across the street from the school my kids go to. And like, I never saw it. It's it blends in. I was like, "Oh my god, I cannot believe this was here the whole time and I never saw it." Super annoying. Um, that's what I would do. Um, Jason, you're so silly. So Justina is asking about spices and buying spices that are actually spicy. We're getting them like since I've been here. The amount of places that sell like even jalapenos and things like that has grown. I even saw them at the feria once. Like just the local feria. I was like, "What is happening right now?" So it's happening. Spices, you can find spices most places. They call them condimentos, which might throw you off. It threw me off a lot because I thought condiments, no, spices. But there's a place in Mercado Ferrando. Let me type it. That sells like specialty spices. Um, there are a few like spice stores that sell them. You won't have a big problem. It's only if it's something really like unusual. Like the Mexican food that we would make at home has some very specific Mexican chiles that I cannot get here. Things like that. That's the main thing. Most spices you can find. Okay. Do you know anything about the availability of sewing supplies, fabric, anything like that? Yes, you are going to want to go. I'm going to type it in. Merceria is the name of the store that sells like yarn and sewing supplies and crafting supplies. And they'll usually be this little tiny, teeny tiny store that just has everything in it. Um, and whatever you need, even if they don't have it, they'll know where to get it for you. But yeah, that's where I go to get. My daughter likes to crochet, so that's where she gets her crochet stuff. And when I have to make a costume or something, I'll just go there. I don't know how to sew, but they're really sweet, so I'll just be like, "I'm trying to make this. What do you think I could manage?" And they'll figure it out and they'll help me. So, yeah, something about Uruguayans is they don't like to throw things out. They really keep things and reuse and fix them and repair them like so people can sew. People, that's not a lost art. Like it's a very real thing. And there are a lot of vintage things that are still around and are still in great condition because people take really good care of their stuff for long amounts of time. So um, it's like going back in time in some ways. What products and goods are missing that could be imported or produced locally? Like I said, like the only thing that really affects us are the chiles from Mexico, like ancho, guajillo, um, and they don't have like the maseca, like the nixtamalized cornmeal that you use to make corn tortillas, which like sounds like such a niche thing, but my family, we used to buy like an 80 pack of corn tortillas every week. Like we went through, that was our bread, was corn tortillas. So that was a tough thing for us. But there's a lot of things that could be imported, but it's just a process of setting all of that up. And it's a country of 3 million people. So the demand is low, and it's a country of 3 million people who kind of have their own way of doing things and aren't really necessarily like don't really want to hear about like Mexican spices and things that much. Some people do, like all of the friends we have I've made by being like, "Hey, you want some salsa?" I made some, like, "You want to come over to our house? I'll make you tacos." And sharing with them. But importing something into a country of 3 million people is tough. Yeah, so the clubs I'm talking about are like a YMCA type club. In fact, there is a YMCA type club. Um, somebody in my WhatsApp group was just talking about this, so I am going to be awkward for a moment and look because if I can tell you the name of it in Spanish. Um, nope, wasn't there. Okay, Asociación Cristiana de Jóvenes is that I am told by somebody is the YMCA in Spanish and exists here. But it kind of depends on what neighborhood you're in. Like you'll find whatever's nearby. No worries. Um, yeah, Jason, my husband just went to Tienda Inglesa and brought back like chipotle adobo chiles and canned jalapenos and things like that. So you can definitely find it. Okay, wait. Sometimes I hear people say that Uruguay is boring. What are your thoughts about that? Um, I mean, I like boring, so I'm probably the wrong person to ask. There are always things going on though. Like it every I mean, Carnival happens for 40 days here. It's the longest carnival in the world. Um, every weekend there are concerts, there are ballets, there are plays, there are all kinds of things happening. People really like the arts here. The club scene is probably smaller than that, but also it's the clubs open at 2 o'clock in the morning. So like I saw a TikTok of this guy who was staying in like Ciudad Vieja, like downtown Montevideo, and he was like, "Look, I'm out at 10 o'clock and nobody's out. Look at this, nothing's going on." And I'm like thinking, "Oh, he wasn't even 10. I think it was like 8:30 or 9." He was like, "Look at how dead this city is." I was like, "Everybody's taking their nap because they're about to go out." This is nap time. You take a nap, you go eat at 10, then you go to the club later. Like, anyway, it's, I'll say that the joke that I say to my son when he comes and yells, "Mom, I'm bored." I'll say, "Oh, I'm sorry you're boring. It is what you make of it. There's a lot to do. You just have to find it." Sports. The thing is that there's not a lot that you have to pay a lot for. The events can be free. Like the planetarium is free, the zoo is free, the like walking down the Rambla is free. Maybe you have an asado with your friends and you just pay for the meat. Like you don't have to pay a lot of money to have a good time here, but it's simpler. Like you're not going to get I don't know, the all of the same options you might get in a big city in the US. Mm, okay, is there good healthcare in cities or towns outside of Montevideo? Yes. So like your big hospitals that do things are going to be in Montevideo or maybe Maldonado. Like Maldonado is starting to open, like British Hospital just opened a second hospital there. Um, there will be clinics and things in towns outside of the bigger hubs, but you may have to travel for, more serious things. So it's very similar to me. Like I grew up in the middle of nowhere, Texas, an hour away from San Antonio. And like I went to the little rural hospital that had two doctors, for like little, I have a cold. go there or whatever. But if you needed actual like extensive medical care, you would drive into San Antonio. Like, so if you live out in the country here, it's the same thing. You're going to drive into the hubs, you know. Yeah. Do I ever go to Buenos Aires for shopping or anything? Yes. So I've only gone once, and I was on the way. I went to Antarctica a year ago. Amazing. But the trip left out of Buenos Aires, so I took the ferry over to Buenos Aires, spent a couple of days there, and it was right before Christmas, so I did buy a few things. My family doesn't really like go bananas on Christmas because we don't want our kids to be spoiled. So I but I did bring some things back. You can bring some things back. If you bring too much back, they're gonna be like, what are you trying to do? You might have to pay tariffs on it. So, you know, have discretion. You can't just like go buy a whole suitcase full of one thing that might flag you when you come through Bugabus. Okay. Asalamaruga. Yes. I've done it a couple times and I'm like, what did I just do? I just ruined my next week. Okay. Yeah, Punta del Este during summer is like Miami. That is true. Yeah. Everyone should go on the Antarctica trip. It's amazing. Um, I was very lucky. My mom took me. She's retired and she travels. And she was like, if I'm going to come all that way to see you, we might as well go to Antarctica. And I was like, well, actually, we could go to Antarctica. And we did. And it was incredible. Incredible. It's really close to here. Like, honestly, like Ushuaia is the very tip of South America, like the town on the very tip. Even just going there is incredible. But yeah, if you can go, it's really, you know, it's just really incredible. It's hard to put into words. Like we kayaked out to a island full of elephant seals and I was like watching them fight and all the things just from offshore. Just bonkers experiences. Oh, Pedro, thank you so much. And if I say anything wrong, please correct me. That is, I always say in every video, like if you're Uruguayan and I misspeak or I say something wrong, 100% correct me because I've only been here 2 years. I don't know everything. I just know what it feels like to move here. So absolutely correct me. Um, I haven't been to Chewy, Brazil yet for shop. Somebody said, "Do you ever go to Chewy, Brazil for shopping or cheaper groceries?" I mean, I live in Montevideo, so it's a trek to go there, and I have 2 kids, so but I my students are always telling me that on the holidays inevitably their family will go there. So I'm like, maybe I need to try this place out. Um, but yeah, here I am. I'm saying, oh, it's so nice to go to Antarctica. And I'm like, driving up to the border of Brazil. Oh my gosh. um, it's a cruise to Antarctica. It's the only way you can go is on a cruise. We went on Viking, which if you're gonna go, that's the most expensive one, I think. But what's super cool about Viking, that particular cruise, it's a polar cruise, and so the boat we were on, it will go around Antarctica for the summer here, and then it takes people on a polar cruise from Antarctica all the way back up to the Arctic, and then it like summers in the North American summer or the northern hemisphere summer and then comes back down like in it, so it goes back and forth. And they have scientists on board who are constantly doing research. So there's like a scientist studying microplastics, a plankton scientist, Oh, I they just have all of these scientists on board who are like contracted to be able to do this like longer term research. And I guess their payback is they have to give lectures. So when you're on that cruise, it's a small boat. Like I think there's 3,000 people on the boat. No, that's wrong. 300 people on the boat. It's a small boat. And there's no like casinos or like big bars or anything. Like you go to scientific lectures. That's your fun experience of the day. That's the on boat entertainment is scientific lectures. So if you're a nerd, that's a really great. It's was a great trip. Okay. Do do do. So someone says, when you moved, I think you said you didn't ship things. How many suitcases did you bring? Any tips about that? We brought 8 suitcases and we brought like a one checked bag for each person, one carry-on bag, and then a backpack for each person. So, if I could go back in time, I would probably look up the um, regulations and just pay for a couple of extra bags to bring more things. But I mean, honestly, it's even bringing 8 suitcases and 4 backpacks and 4 people was a lot, was kind of a circus. So, you know, and you kind of, we just kind of, it was like a burn the boats moment. Like we're giving away or selling all of our stuff and we only have 8 suitcases now. Kind of was, I mean, just helped us reset our brains really well. So, but I know people who bring a lot more suitcases, like a lot more. So you just look at your airline policies and see how many you can bring. Um this is a great one. Is there good public transportation in Montevideo? If you live further out, do you need a car? There's great public transportation here. People here complain about it a lot and I'm like, you should move to Texas where there is none. Well, there is some, but it's very limited. Um I take the bus to work. My husband takes the bus to work. It's very easy for me to take the bus to work. We get around by bus usually, and then taxis are not even that expensive. Like, honestly, when we go across town, like on a 20-25 minute drive, it'll be like 400 pesos, which is $10. Like, it's, if you compare, you could literally just take a taxi everywhere and probably spend less than it would cost to own a car. But yeah, the bus system's great. And then the intercity bus system is really good too. Like we've taken buses out into the interior. I went to Paso de los Toros, which is like if you're picturing the pie. I'm trying to look at myself and do it like Uruguay. It's like right here in the middle. Um, I took a bus. It was fine. Um, so yeah, if you live if you live along the coast, I would say you can probably get by without a car. I have a friend in Piriapolis who has lived there 3 years with no car, no problems. Um, Especially if you live like closer to Montevideo, like near the airport. There's a lot of buses going back and forth along that route. So you would be totally fine without a car. It just might be more inconvenient because those buses don't go as often. Like the Montevideo buses are every every few minutes, but the intercity buses are, maybe once an hour. Okay. Copa will let you take 5 and a carry-on. Golly, that's a lot of bags. And $250 a bag. I mean, I think when we moved, I was just like, let's simplify. I mean, we can't take everything. It's fine. Hovian says, I think that it's quieter. and more organized than an average Latin country, but people from the US are expecting like a fun Latino country and they don't find it here. Yeah, it's a really interesting contrast because my husband's from Mexico, so I was used to Mexicans and like Mexicans are the funnest people on the planet. Like, oh my god, so much fun to hang out with Mexicans, like the best in the world. Sorry, I know I was supposed to be saying good things about Uruguay, but I love my husband, I love his family, but Uruguay is kind of an interesting mixture of like that, but then like subtle European culture. So yeah, it's not Cancun. Like it's not gonna be um it's much more subtle and like the humor is especially like I'm still barely starting to get the sense of humor. The sense of humor is really there, but it's really understated. And I'm enjoying getting as I get to know my friends here and like learning what the humor is really fun. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Jason. He says, watch the bus guide. Yeah, I think I have a what's it called? Do you need a car to travel around Uruguay or something like that? Is talks about how to use the bus. So okay. Car free, safe, lower cost, super good internet. Yes. The internet is fantastic here. It goes out less here than it went out in Houston. And the only time it's gone out is when the power went out and the power went out for like an hour and they got it back on. So the internet is great. My husband was a director of software from here, like with his whole gigantic setup and no problems. So internet, no worries. Car free, asterisk, like you can't live in the middle of nowhere probably, but if you live along a bus line or if you live in Montevideo, easy to be car free. Safe, safe is very relative, but I feel very safe here. Um, Lower cost is hard because, like, typically the food cost is probably about the same as the US. Rental costs are probably about the same here in Montevideo as they would be in like San Antonio or somewhere like that. What you will save on is not having a car and the healthcare. Like I mean, we spent like 25 to 30 grand a year on healthcare. We don't have that anymore. So that's a huge savings. Um, so it's not low. Like I kind of, one of my favorite things might be that it doesn't really attract like a lot of the like tech bro digital nomad people who are just like looking for the lowest cost of living. They wouldn't come here because it isn't the lowest cost of living. It's a high cost of living in certain regards. But if you're coming from the US, you will probably find that your budget's way lower than it was in the US because of these big things. The little everyday things are still as expensive as the US, but healthcare and transportation are probably a huge chunk of your budget right now that you'd be saving. Jason asks, how long does it take to get appointments for specialists at your mutualista? So if you go into the ER, like the service is incredibly fast. Like when I fell in the street and hurt my ankle, I was in and out of the ER with my crutches in 45 minutes. X-ray, doctor's note, everything done. Um, if it's like an elective thing, or like it's something like an endocrinologist or something, it's about 6 weeks is how long you're waiting. And then looking at um yeah, things like X-rays, MRIs, things like that. It's it has never struck me as like much different than the US. Like you're scheduling a few weeks out for elective things. Again, if it's an emergency and you hurt yourself, then you're going to get scanned in a few minutes of walking in the hospital. But um I don't know anything about COSIM. COSPU is pretty good. I mean, that's where my daughter was in the ICU, so I have so much love for COSMU because they took care of her really well in the ICU. And Our experience there with specialists is that I'm trying to think. Like she needed an X-ray, but it was like an elective X-ray, and that took about a week and a half to get in Cosmo. Um, to get in to get an orthodontics appointment was a little bit longer. Um, I cannot say that anything in Cosmo has been like super long. Mental health services are a little bit longer at Cosmo. So like I know some people who are like, I need a psychiatrist appointment to get my meds refilled, and it was going to be 3 months for a new patient. But like in the US, a psychiatrist is pretty long too. So, and I don't know about COSIM, Jason, to help you, but no, it's okay. That's um, lower cost of rent. I mean, I think that it's lower rent here than many US cities for right now. I don't know. Um, not like it's not why people move here. People don't move here to save money. That's not the main goal. Someone says COSIM is much better than Gasmu. Okay. Okay, guys, I'm going to try to wrap this up because my husband took the kids out to dinner and they're going to come blasting in the door any second now, making a bunch of noise. So if you have any last minute questions, drop them right now because I'm going to close it pretty quick. No, I get it. Like I said, the main reason people move back to the US is money. So you want to make sure that you have enough money to live here safely. Like, so, okay, okay. Any more questions? Going once, going twice. Do they have chili cheese ponchos? No, but I can make you some. I make good chili. Um, oh, if you're leaving because of LGBT worries, I know a lot of people here who are from the U.S. who've moved here for the same reason and are having a very good experience. And for being here for 2 years, I can say we've had a really good experience in that regard. So, um, no place is perfect, but it's very much. If you watch my video about what does progressive mean in Uruguay, it's very like people just don't care what you're doing, you know, and so it's not even like rah rah LGBTQ rights. It's more just like okay, whatever you do, you, and that's that's what I wanted. You know, I wanted a place like that where people can just be themselves and we don't worry. You know, so um, yeah, it's I'm with you, friend, and I'm sorry that everything has happened in the U.S. We kind of anticipated that happening and thought, let's move before all of it happens. And I had hoped that I was being crazy and over dramatic, but no. Anyway, well, now we're ending on a sad note. I shouldn't I shouldn't do that. I should end on a happy note. Jason. Okay, you get your chili cheese poncho cart and I'll get my breakfast taco cart because I make breakfast tacos for my friends and they're always like, "Cassie, you should sell these. They're so good." um Oh, great. Well, I mean, you should also talk to other people, not just me cuz you know, uh, other people have different experiences. So, I'm one person and my family is one family and um our set of experiences was different. So, um don't put all your eggs in one basket. But anyway, talk to a lot of different people, get a lot of different perspectives for sure. Yeah. I'm always nervous when somebody's like, we're making I'm like, don't make your decision because of me. Like, that is very stressful. But okay, excellent, excellent. And if you come on a scouting trip, let me know, and I can see if anybody's available to meet up with you. We're going into summer, so people will be more available too. So you could talk to other people about what it's like to live here. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to close it out then. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for watching. I'm starting this series about like more specific immigration steps. So hopefully that will be helpful for people moving here to, once you get here, to be able to go through these very tedious little steps. So keep an eye out for that, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.